can get started. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes,
You're
yes, yes.
You're able to see my screen, right? All right,
Yes.
great. Thank you. Thanks for confirming. So, hello everyone, and very good evening. And as Nitin mentioned, I'm glad to connect with you guys today. I'm Anisha Udayakumar, and so with the field of AI advancing and evolving so much, as Nitin mentioned, you can see AI on the news every day, and with new developments and breakthroughs, which is happening all the time as we speak. There is some state of the art models that keeps coming out, and people are productionalizing it, and chat GPT-3 is all over the news for the past 1 month or so, and so many more models coming in. I'm very glad and happy to see you folks taking the first step of getting to know what artificial intelligence is. So let's get started. I am an AI evangelist, a tech evangelist who's focusing on Intel's OpenVINO toolkit. And this on the screen that you see is my team. We are a global team of AI evangelists who are spread across the world, as you can see the map. And I'm based in India. So our core job is to help developer community like yours who are getting started with AI journey, who are advanced in the journey, to leverage OpenVINO and make your AI journey all the more powerful. So that's a core job. Without much further ado, probably I'll get started with our session today, which is AI for everyone. Before that, a quick question. What are those one word or two word that pops on your mind when I say artificial intelligence? You can use the chat window right here. I'm curious to know what you guys think about AI. Probably at the end of the session, we have a Q&A where we can discuss more about it. So, yeah. Artificial intelligence, or AI as we call it, it's the technique which creates new simulations of human technologies in mission. It lets the machine think and learn like how we human do, right? And it includes ways where the machine can understand what a person is saying, how to interpret or recognize an image or any visual data for that matter, and make decisions. So it tries to understand and think and learn like how our human brains work. So that's what, on a high level, what artificial intelligence means. And you must be familiar with the terms artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and data science. I'm sure it is quite popular. All of these are fields that are connected and interrelated, and artificial intelligence is the broader umbrella term, and machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence, and that's what this diagram represents. And when it comes to deep learning, it is a specific subset of machine learning that comes under artificial intelligence. And data science, as you see, is an interdisciplinary field which makes use of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Along with statistics, it tries to extract some insights from the data. So when I say data, it can be structured data and unstructured data. By extracting these data, it tries to make some predictions or decisions. And data science, it heavily relies on machine learning and artificial intelligence, and it tries to analyze and make more sense of large and complex data sets. That's on a high level what each of these terms means. And these are some of the critical elements of AI, I would say. The list is very huge, but to get started with, these are the major elements that we'll be seeing today. First one being the machine learning. So this element of AI, it tries to develop algorithm or model by training tons and tons of data. So there are different branches under machine learning. We have supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. And the next element that you see here is natural language processing. you must be already familiar with Google Home and Siri, and must be wondering how it works, right? The brain behind it is the neural networks that works on natural language processing, and this element, it tries to understand and respond to a normal human language. So some of the application use cases of NLP are virtual assistants, chatbots, and so on. The next element is computer vision. This is the favorite area, and my personal favorite, because on a day-to-day basis, my complete work life, or the work looks or focuses on the combination of deep learning and computer vision. That's what I work on everyday basis. And this particular element, the vision element of AI, it focuses on interpreting, it sees and tries to interpret all kind of visual information, ranging from images, live feed from webcam, and videos, and so on. And it's quite popular as well. The next one is robotics. So this element makes use of robots and autonomous robots that walk around the warehouse and so on. It tries to mimic the human intelligence and do some specific tasks for which it is trained for. And robotics, you can see in various applications that spans across industries like manufacturing, transportation, healthcare, warehouses, and so on. So these are some of the interesting elements, but the list is really, really huge. To get started with, these are the most important elements of AI. And now that you're familiar with the terms, machine learning and deep learning plays a very, very important role when it comes to AI. Both of them are form of artificial intelligence, where we develop a model by training data, and it tries to predict or make some decisions. But there are definitely slight differences between machine learning and deep learning. When you consider a machine learning model, it makes decision in a much more simpler way. You will know why a decision is made because the structure is very simple. But on the other hand, when you consider deep learning, it is quite complex because it makes or focuses on using neural networks with multiple layers to make decision or to understand the representation of the huge amount of data that you feed into this neural networks. The deep learning model is basically inspired from how our brain neurons is structured and functions, and that's exactly what a deep learning neural network tries to mimic, and that's why it's even more powerful. So deep learning is well suited for complex tasks like image recognition, speech recognition, and so on. And most importantly, the model that is built on deep learning is much more efficient and shows high level of accuracy when compared to a normal machine learning model. So when I say accuracy, there are certain metrics that you use to, rank the AI model. And one such metric, very important metric, is accuracy and performance. So that's the difference between machine learning and deep learning. And as the diagram here represents, when I say AI model, I keep talking about AI model, right? What exactly does it do? So when you give an image like this car or an image of a dog or cat, it'll fed through the neural network, and then the output would be, it can say if it is a car or a dog. It's easy to say as a human, we see it through our eyes and we can quickly say what I'm seeing is a cat, dog, or car or a bike. But then to make the machines do it is a very complex task, and with AI it's very much possible. And I'll quickly walk you through the end-to-end life cycle of what a deep learning model does. So the first critical step is understanding the problem statement that's in your hand, and then doing a research on it. So when I say understanding the problem statement, say for example, I'm trying to build a smart city, and I'm trying to have some AI solution that'll enable make me to build a smart city. There's a traffic signal problem that I'm trying to address. Here, this is the problem statement, and I need a solution. My solution is trying to build a vision-based AI model. And when I say vision-based AI model, what kind of relevant data should I gather to build this solution. That is my first step. When I say relevant data, what all comes to your mind? What would be the visual data that you would need to build a smart traffic signal solution? You would need the pedestrian video where the people walk and cross the roads. You would need the movement of the vehicles. What else? You would need the traffic signal videos. These are all the data that you would need to train the model. So this is the initial research that will go into and the step one of any deep learning model. You understand the problem statement and research on what kind of relevant data is required to build the model. And now that you have the model, the second step is to clean the data. When I say clean the data, you will pre-process the data in such a way that you have a specific format with which the model will accept the data. This is applicable to any model you pick from any framework. When I say framework, there are different AI frameworks, like you would have heard about TensorFlow, PyTorch. The one social media trending model is YOLO V8, which just got released 2 days back, and that's a PyTorch model. So there are different frameworks like this. So you will pre-process or clean your data. And now that you have the data in hand, the next step is to design and develop the actual AI model. So you will define the architecture of the model, and then you train your model using this data set. So we have the data set in hand. For example, you are collecting 1,000 images to train your model. You wouldn't use all the 100% of images. You will split it into 70% and 30%, or 80% and 20%. This 70 or 80% is what you would use to train your model. And the remaining 30 or 20%, you will leave it aside. The reason being, once you have trained your model, you will evaluate your model, or I would say test your model using this 30 or 20% of images. Because you will have to test the model with an input image or text or video that the model has never seen before. So that's the beauty. You will train the model for a certain set of data set, and you will test the model with entirely a new data. And if it works, that's the success of your training the model. And if it doesn't, no problem. You will go back, try to tune the model, do some evaluation methods like hyperparameter tuning and so on. And you will reach a step where you are ready to deploy a model. And this is the fifth step, where you deploy the model and productionalize it and scale it in a new environment, a business ready environment, and with new data. And the final step is simple. You will have to monitor and maintain the data. What I mean by that is, every day there's technology that's advancing and it's getting evolved, right? So you need to make sure that your AI model is up to date. So this is the entire end-to-end life cycle of a deep learning model. I guess I've talked too much of technical things. I will leave it as such because this is our first session on AI. So let's see how AI in doing its action in real world problems. These are some of the very famous use cases where AI is being widely used, like self-driving cars, virtual assistants, smart assistants, and many, many more use cases across different industries. And again, this list is just hand counted, but the actual list is numerous, because I can see AI everywhere, literally. And 10 years back, we would bring AI under the category of future tech or emerging tech. But today, AI is no longer a future tech. It's already there. Businesses have already started to use it, and there's a huge, huge potential in the field of AI. Um, so, in detail about self-driving cars. So, all of you must have heard about autonomous vehicle or self-driving car, right? I'm sure you know about Tesla, where the cars are running without drivers and all. Have you ever wondered what kind of AI gets into such kind of solutions? So AI is used in these to navigate through the road and make decisions, and most importantly, yeah, with increased safety and assistance. Um, Technically, how it works is in a self-driving car, there is a combination of sensors and software that keeps analyzing data, gathers information. It tries to understand its environment, and uh, it tries to make decision as to how the vehicle will have to move forward or take the next step. So in a real scenario, what happens is, if a human is driving a car, if you are driving a car on a bike on the road, what all things would you consider? What will actually happen? You would analyze what's going in front of you. You will see which are all vehicles are near you, to your left or right. You will check if a person is crossing the road. You will check the traffic signal, if it is red or green. And you would also see your left and right mirrors, rear mirrors, and you would plan, or rather, I would say, your brain will take an action as to what to do next, right? This is exactly we are trying to do here. There is a computer system which acts as the brain for the self-driving cars, which runs with multiple algorithms. There's not just one model under which a self-driving car drives, but there's a combination of algorithms, like object detection. Um, it does localization. There's trajectory planning and predictions that will try to understand the environment, and it tries to make decision as to what the vehicle will have to do. So now, imagine the AI has done the part of making the decision. So, as a next step, this decision will be sent as a command to the car's, uh, uh, you know, uh, to the car's parts like electric motors or hydraulic system, which primarily takes care of the car's movement. And this is exactly how a self-driving car runs. The computer system makes decisions, sends commands, and lets the self-driving car take the decision of what is the next step it has to do, considering all of the safety and assistance in place. Might sound really exciting, right? It's really, if you're curious about any of the AI solutions that's around you, like flying a drone or self-driving cars like this, you will be all the more excited if you know what goes inside it, how the brain works, how the neural network works, and so on. It's very interesting to know. And the other example is virtual assistant. So today, if you go to any website online, to Amazon, Flipkart, or any of the banking websites or app, you will face a virtual assistant there who will answer all your queries or provide you with recommendations or processes and so on. So, what do you think is the kind of element, the AI element? I showed you a list of AI element, right? Can you take a guess of what kind of AI element goes behind a virtual assistant? I can just give you like 5 seconds. You can put your answers on the chat. So, the answer is natural language processing. I'm sorry if someone was trying to answer. So, that's what goes behind a virtual assistant. So here what it does is, like, it tries to understand users command and tries to respond to it. Today you can go to Google Home and say, hey, play this favorite music of mine. How do you think it's responding to your query? It's because of speech recognition and the NLP model that goes behind it. You can go to Siri and ask Siri to call your friend. You can book appointments through NLP or virtual assistants. You can plan your entire day or year. There are many, many advancements that going on today with these kinds of AI advancements. And the next big industry that uses a lot of or various AI solution is healthcare. So, especially in the field of medical diagnosis, where during the time of COVID, you might have seen in news that there was a company that had an AI solution that can go through like thousands of CT scans of a COVID patient, and can predict at what level the COVID was spread. So the advancement was so much that it cannot replace a human, it cannot replace a doctor, but it can aid as an assistant for a doctor to make quick decision. That's all the more important in a healthcare, right? Where if there is something that can help the healthcare professionals make decisions quicker and you know accurately, that's very very critical in a healthcare industry. So AI has the capability to do it, and it's proven its mark. And there's a lot more use cases that has come, that is popping up in healthcare. In Intel, we are also working on so many products ranging from self driving cars to healthcares and so on, building AI products with the combination of infrastructure advancement. It doesn't so one thing is building the AI model, but there's another question of, do we have the infrastructure of supporting such huge computational power is another question. But today there are silicon companies like Intel and other large industries that are building AI enabled silicons or chips or hardwares that can support any kind of AI models. So that's the beauty of advancement and technologies these days. And if you're, as an AI developer, are very keen on starting your AI journey, and there are two things I would say. First, if you're really keen on knowing what goes inside a AI model, you can take a route of building your own AI model from the scratch, where you just have like 5 to 6 layers of neural network and try and see. Probably you can pick classification, object classification as one of the example. You can try and build, understand what technically happens inside the hidden layers, and then start your journey. Or there's another route where your major goal is to solve a business problem, solve a society problem, or some people's problem using AI. There, what you do is, there's a smart way of doing it, because there are tons and tons of pre-trained model that is coming into the market, where you can pick the pre-trained model and do transfer learning, train that pre-trained model on a custom data set for the specific task that you wanted, and then build or find a solution for the problem that you wanted. So this second smart step, you can do it through many ways. Intel has an open model zoo. Similarly, there are TensorFlow model zoo and Onyx model zoo. Every framework and every company have pre-trained tons and tons of models. Intel hosts about 270 plus pre-trained models. You can simply scan the QR code if you want to explore the GitHub repository and what kind of models that you want to use. We have models ranging like object detection, post estimation, so action recognition. So when you feed in a live video or an image, the model will be able to detect what kind of actions that goes on into the visual information. There's depth estimation, OCR as well, and many many more. So there are like many pre-trained models that's available, which you can explore and get started with your AI journey. So a quick note here, we have a hands-on session at the end of today's discussion, and style transfer notebook is what I'm going to walk you through. What style transfer means is, so if there's a style that you want to capture from a image, for example, if you are a fan of Picasso and you want to inspire the style from Picasso's painting and then put it on a video, or create a profile pic for you, or create a Snapchat filter, that's possible through style transfer neural network. So I built an interactive notebook on this, which is also part of the OpenVINO notebook repository. The repository hosts 40 plus notebooks, where you can also see GPT notebooks, all of the trending models that are in the market. We've tried creating and collating it as a notebook for the whatever I'm saying is all open sourced. So it will benefit all of you guys, students, and who are getting started with AI development. You can explore these notebooks, try and decode how it works, and that's how you get started with the journey. So this style transfer notebook was quite interesting, and I have a very quick question for you here. Probably I'm trying to make it more interactive, so you can go to this menti.com link, or this particular link is shared in the meeting chat window. You can go to the menti.com and use this code. You will land on this question as what you kind of want to build. What is that real world problem that you would want to solve by using style transfer notebook, or I would say a style transfer solution. So if you ask me, as a fun use case, I would want to build a Snapchat kind of filter where there's a live webcam that I'm using for a friends group video call, where I can just pick my own style inspired from other images or paintings. So this is what popped on my mind. So I'll be really interested to see what kind of real world problems that you want to solve using style transfer neural network. I'll quickly try to go to Menti and try and see. I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes time, and then we can try and see the answers that all of you are giving. Okay, I'll try to share my screen. The answers are very interesting. Nothing. Cooking. Oh, filter to get dressed up. That's interesting. Keep them coming. I guess I'm getting, oh, night vision at scale. That's amazing. Aid for color blinded. Yeah, brilliant. Assignments and projects. Maybe to style your aesthetically make your assignments look good. That's what you meant. I guess you can keep the answers coming. X-ray eyeglass. Nice. It's very interesting to see the answers here, and thanks for answering. Probably we'll get back to the presentation here. Very interesting thing. Like each of you would have a different perspective of as to how to use the AI models, right? It's very interesting to see. And now, if you ask me, what is the future of AI? With the advancements that keeps coming in, and with the aid of like technology improvements that's happening today, the future of AI, I would say, is like open-minded, and it's endless. The projects that keeps coming under AI is um, very endless. And one thing that we'll have to keep in mind is the ethical and societal implication that a AI solution makes when it goes into production, or when any person in the world is using it. That's the most important thing that all around the world people are discussing, the ethics of AI. So in that case, we come to the topic of responsible AI. So how can I develop or deploy, um, having ethics in mind, a responsible AI? So today you will have to, today if you're trying to create a AI team to build a AI model, one thing that critically is important is, if the people who are trying to gather the data. So data gathering or data preparation is one of the crucial step in any AI model life cycle. So if a person is biased in thinking, they would obviously gather a data that is biased, and so you would know what is the end, would be the end result of the AI model. It will be biased, obviously. So you will have to consider the diversity and inclusiveness that a person can bring in while bringing or building an AI model. This is very, very important, because we will have to have all the needs and the societal implications that an AI model can bring in when it goes into production, and that's very, very important. It needs to be fair, transparent, and all the more importantly, it need to consider the privacy concerns. If you go to Europe today, GDPR is a thing that is considered. I'm sure people, if you're from UK or if you know folks from UK, they'll be speaking about GDPR. Privacy and consent is a very important thing, and when you build anything around AI, you will have to consider all of this. So yeah, that's one key thing. And coming to the most interesting part, which is the hands-on demo, I'm going to show you or walk you through the hands-on demo. I'm sure we have given a heads up on this. So if you have your laptop in front of you, you can run the code and see as I present you the hands-on session. And for others who wanted to try it later, you can simply scan the QR code and try and see how you can install OpenVINO, because the notebook is part of OpenVINO and you will have to install OpenVINO with just these 4 steps. First, you create the environment and you clone the repository. Then you install all the requirements that's required, and you can launch the notebooks. Voila, that's the steps. And once you launch the notebook, you would see something like this. So yeah, I was talking about style transfer notebook. So this is a live notebook. It's a web-based Jupyter notebooks where you can interactively run the notebooks and see what. So this is a AI model, style transfer notebook. It demonstrates how you can utilize OpenVINO toolkit and try and mix the styles, different styles onto input image or live feed or video. Sounds interesting, right? I'll show you how it runs. So I'm running the code here. I'm not deep diving and going line by line explaining the code, but I can just tell you what is happening over here. I'm importing all the libraries and downloading one of the models. So I'm picking the models from Onyx Model Zoo. So the beauty of OpenVINO here is, if I'll have to run any model on different hardwares, today I'll have to write different codes for to run a model on a CPU, GPU, or Raspberry Pi, right? But with OpenVINO, you can only write. It's enough to write the code once, and you can run it on any Intel specific hardware like CPU, GPU, VPUs. We also have neural sticks that looks like Raspberry Pi and so on. So I've used a style transfer network. I converted it to OpenVINO format. I'm loading the model and I'm using my webcam live here to show you how it is running. So the output looks like this. So this is one of the filter I've used. And if you want to try it with a different style, it's very, very simple. I guess I've made the notebook, I've developed it quite user friendly. So these are the 5 different styles that you can pick and choose and explore and see how you're looking on each style. The one you saw is mosaic, and let me try and see how candy looks like. Let me run the cells, it'll take time. Um, yeah, so so the this 6 lines is the magic which is created. So I have selected auto here. Auto means yeah, this is the different style, and you can see inference time and 44 fps, right? These are some of the metrics that will evaluate the model and say how good your model is performing. For example, this is running on auto, and you can just remember this number, which is 40 fps and 21 milliseconds. So let me try and say change the hardware to CPU here. Probably I can also show you a different style at this step, maybe pointillism. And I've selected, as you saw, I've selected CPU here. Now you would see a difference in the inference time and FPS. Yeah, this is a different style. I hope all of you can see. And you can see the FPS has reduced so much, which is bad. When I selected auto, my machine had an integrated GPU inbuilt. So it was using a combination of CPU and GPU, and so my FPS was more. And only with CPU, the model has become bit heavy. So these are few things that you will try and understand as you dig deep and deep dive into the topics of AI. And when you understand what a model is, what how a hardware has an impact on building an AI model, and so on. And probably I can quickly show you one more use case that we built, which is object detection. With object detection, so we have downloaded SSD MobileNet. This is one of the lightest model that's available, which can run on any CPU. So we try and choose very lightweight models because um, uh, there shouldn't be a case where you only need GPU to run an AI model. With today's advancement, you can run AI model at the edge instantly, because all of the if you take self-driving as an example, in self-driving car, the AI model should work so quickly that it should perform in real time. So that's very, very crucial these days. AI at edge is itself a very vast topic to read and explore. So object detection is like that. Like it works like this. As you see, it can detect me as a person. Probably it can detect my cell phone. It's not showing. Yeah, it says it's my cell phone, and there's a book. I don't know if it can detect. Yeah, it's slightly saying it's a book. So if you ask me, what do we do with these kind of post estimation, object detection kind of models, there are multiple business use cases that you can build with these models. One being, if I'm tracking a person, so if I'm building a retail solution, for example, there's a multi-story mall, and then you have 20 retail stores in one single floor, and there are thousands of people walking in. Business need analytics to make business strategies, right? I know these terms are big, and I'll try to make it simple for you guys to understand. So when there's a people tracking solution, it tracks the thousands of people walking in that particular floor. What is the flow of people in each of the store? Foot traffic, when I say foot traffic, when like 50 people gather at one specific region, that's called a foot traffic. So I can see what is the foot traffic print in each of the section. And uh, these kind of data is very, very important, because this can give an insight to the business as to make better strategies, how they can improve business, how they can improve customer experiences, and so on. This is just one example, but you can pick any of the problems around you, and you can try and see how you can build a model that can solve the problem. So I guess that's about it with the hands-on session. Um, so uh, if you ask me what is the next step for you guys, you will have to try it yourself. If you're getting started with the AI journey, you will have to explore the large ocean of AI. I showed you the elements of AI. There are like multiple options. NLP. If you're There's also this interesting transformer models that keeps coming in, Hugging Face models, where you will only have to give a text, and then it can give you a video or image. That's amazing, right? If you say an astronaut elephant walking on the moon, there's no image that's available in real, physically present in any of the museum, or none of the painters have drawn it, but AI can do it for you. And if you ask me what can you do with it more than having fun, it has vast number of use cases that we can build. Retail fashion industry can have a tremendous makeover, where a customer can walk in, just spit out 2 to 3 words, and he can get a AI generated fashion printed on his t-shirt. Or there are various other It can have a huge impact on gaming industries, film industries, and so on. So any problem statement you take and try and link it with AI, you will find your perspective of finding a solution to that problem. So as a first step, you will have to try it yourself, whichever model or framework that you wanted to expertise or deep dive in. So I guess this is what I wanted to cover today. And if you wanted to know more or have any doubts in your AI journey and wanted some advices, I'm always available on LinkedIn. You can scan the QR code or search for me as Anisha Uday in LinkedIn. I'm really glad that I was able to present or give or share my knowledge with you guys today. And that's all I have for you today. I'm open for question and answers now.
Okay. It was a great session, Anisha.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So we have few questions. One is, um, can I understand a bit more about PyTorch? How can I get started as a hobby in PyTorch?
Yeah, just a minute. Yeah, what was the question? PyTorch, is it? All
Yeah.
right. So there are different AI frameworks today. The most famous one is TensorFlow, and as you mentioned, PyTorch, right? Most of the transformer or like the chat GPT kind of models PyTorch is a framework that's developed by Facebook or Meta developers. Um, uh, and it's the widely used today. If you take TensorFlow and PyTorch are equally widely used as AI frameworks in the industry. And if you want to explore more, you can learn. It's not a language as such, but it's just a framework. You can pick Python as a language for you to get started with. Python or R is one of the basic languages that you can familiar with. There are various other new languages that is popping up to study AI, but Python and R is what I would recommend. You can learn one of them, and then post that you will get familiarized with different frameworks of AI, which is we have TensorFlow, we have PyTorch, we have Cafe, we have Onyx. There are many, many more. The top few picks are TensorFlow and PyTorch. And if you want to specialize in PyTorch, you can try and find models that are built on PyTorch. YOLO is a PyTorch model, by the way. So you can explore and see how PyTorch models work. What are all the different models that are built on PyTorch? When I say different models, you have object detection, instance segmentation. Object detection is what I showed you, right?
Yeah.
There's a camera feed and there's a bounding box that comes over a person or an object or a cell phone. Instant segmentation is advanced than that. It doesn't draw a bounding box. Rather, it will draw the outlayer of a person itself, and it will give a mask as to what is the area, the region of interest of each of the class or object. So these kind of complex models are built on PyTorch and TensorFlow. So you will have to explore each of these models, or what kind of different areas of specialization that you want in AI, and then you can deep dive, find PyTorch models, uh, try and run them and see how it works, and then you can go back and decode the framework by itself.
Okay. Okay.
See, if you ask me where exactly to go, GitHub, Stack Overflow are these spaces which has open source codes of various PyTorch models. And you
Okay.
can look for YOLO V series of YOLO V7, YOLO V8 PyTorch models. Most of the generative models like GAN, you must have heard about GAN, right? Where you can generate AI faces, all that. All of those models are built on PyTorch. The most of the complex AI models are mostly in PyTorch.
Okay. Okay. Uh, what about TensorFlow? TensorFlow is it similar to PyTorch? Uh,
See, yeah, as I mentioned, these two are frameworks. It is
okay.
very, it's like how you can code in, so there is one particular task. You can either code it in .NET or Java, right? You can either code it in R language or Python, right? The same task. Similarly,
Mm-hmm.
um, PyTorch is one framework, and there is another framework called TensorFlow. So
Okay.
Tensor, you also have um, uh, TensorFlow is again an interesting framework. They have a wide range of libraries inbuilt. So when you ask me, how do you evaluate a AI framework? It's based on the libraries it supports. So there are terms like pandas, numpys, matplotlib. So if you take the terms of data science, data visualization is one of the topic that you'll cover. Statistics is one of the topic you will cover. All of this have got specific libraries to be used in your model, and whichever framework supports maximum of these libraries would be rated as better frameworks. And PyTorch and TensorFlow supports most of these libraries. So if you ask me, learning, you can either learn a TensorFlow framework or a PyTorch framework, and if you learn both, you are on the best spot. So
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Anisha. Next question. How do I know if I should use just a CPU or both CPU and GPU together? When do I know that?
So it's a very tricky question to answer. See, if you ask me, it depends on what is the model that you're running. If it is a very simple, lightweight model that you wanted to run, there's no point in using a GPU. It doesn't make sense as well, because GPU is a very, very expensive, uh, you know, uh, option. If you will have to buy a
Mhm.
GPU, you will have to spend lakhs and thousands. But if your model, for example, I'm talking about transformer models, right? For example, chat gpt uh, chat gpt, if you go and understand the history of chat gpt, it is trained on billions of parameters, which
Mhm.
means billions is a huge number. So which means that model itself is a very, very huge model. If you're deploying that kind of huge model, you would need a GPU. Then it makes sense to use a GPU. And then when you're doing I forgot to mention or talk about AI inference. So when your model is ready, and you've deployed your model, how you use the model, you give an input,
Yeah.
it gets into the model and you get an output, right? This process is called AI inference. We don't call it output, but this is something called AI inferencing. So AI inferencing is the most crucial part when you take AI to a business or production, because that is using those results, you make some decisions or predictions, right? To do the AI inference, you will have to decide if you need to do the AI inference on a CPU or a GPU or a combination of both. In my code, I would have showed you a point where I was changing auto to CPU, right?
Yeah.
How
Got it.
OpenVINO addresses your question beautifully is, if you have a combination of hardware and you are running an AI model and you mention auto there, the toolkit has the intelligence to choose the best combination of hardware, because it's too technical to explain, but I'll try to explain on a high level. There are certain parallel processing that happens when you do the AI inference. Certain things run better on CPU, certain things run better on GPU, and
Oh,
no one as a human can predict through which length I can use a CPU or a GPU or a combination of both. If I have like 8 GPU running parallelly and CPUs running parallelly, I cannot sit and keep changing the hardwares, right? So there are
yeah.
toolkits like OpenVINO and other toolkits which has these kind of intelligence, where it will help the selection of hardware for specific AI task. So you don't have to worry about it. If you know to use such toolkits, then you're on the best spot.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, uh, I'm just curious. Like I read somewhere about TPUs, TensorFlow processing units. Does Intel
Yeah.
use anything of that sort?
Um, no, we do not work on CPUs. Sorry, TPUs. But um, as if you ask me on the hardware side, uh, previously we didn't have a discrete GPU like Nvidia, but if you see now, Intel has come up with discrete GPU like Arc series, HD graphics, and so on. So
Mhm.
Intel has recently launched a GPU are in the game. of the GPU field, but TPUs, no.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Anisha. That last question, if we can wind up. Nitin Chen has asked, how can business analysts and product managers involve AI product or tech in how can they involve in AI product and tech? Business analysts and
Uh,
product managers.
yeah, so there's a question of why do you need AI, right? So if there is a very, very simple task, you will have to first analyze and see, do you really need an AI solution there? Because, for example, I majorly worked in retail industry, so I'm just quoting example from there. There's a store associate who wants to make a decision on its day-to-day activity on the that's happening in the store. He's a human who's trying to do the task by himself. What if this is a kind of digital project that's under a business analyst or a product manager who's sitting in the IT or consulting company? You will have to try and analyze and see what kind of human efforts can be automated. How can I bring in AI to better accurate or elevate the work that's done by a human? So the thought process should go from top down as to see, uh, do you really need AI to solve the
Mhm.
problem? And if so, uh, you will have to deep dive and see what kind of see. Just because you've learned AI, just because you know about deep learning, doesn't mean that you'll have to build a model everywhere. Certain tasks will simply be solved by just clustering. So if you know statistics, you can use some of the decision tree methods or so on. Simple task just to solve the simple problems. But if the problem is complex enough, you will have to try and analyze what kind of solution that you will have to build, what kind of AI I can pitch in, and so on. um, Another example is if I want to count, there's a conveyor belt which in the airport which takes luggages, and if the security authority want to do it autonomously, probably I can bring in AI vision solution that monitors all the luggages, scans through the products.
Mhm.
A man need not sit there, the official need not sit there. Rather, a mission can do it and alert the officials whenever is required, right? So you will have to think through if you really need a AI.
Okay, okay, okay. Um, yeah, that clears it up. So, yeah, Nitin, Cheta, anything? Hello?
Am I audible? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, so that was a really excellent session, Anisha and Milan. Thank you so much. There's been a lot of new information shared here. These are all brand new, first time hearing kind of information that was shared here. So probably, for me at least personally, if you ask me, so I have probably as someone who's more detail oriented, I would probably have to take these resources and get back and get my hands dirty and understand the details so that I could figure out like, okay, what would be probably by next course of action to align towards the AI shift that the world is taking.